What's up, everybody? This is Noah from the All Things Today podcast. This is round 2 of episode 7.
We haven't done this before. What are you talking about?
No, we absolutely haven't recorded episode 7 tonight
No,
already.
No,
Totally
not like
round 1.
Absolutely not.
7.2. No.
Yeah, absolutely not. Anyways, guys, welcome back.
Hi.
I am your host, Noah. I am here with J-Bomb and returning Keith. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Puddy.
Oh.
The buddy Puddy.
Oh, if I
Welcome
have
back.
to, I will.
If I
Welcome
must,
back,
I
buddy.
must. So,
Alright, back.
I'm going to reiterate this again because we absolutely did not have to restart this podcast because I screwed up.
No.
Never.
He totally didn't do
No.
hotkeys and press the hotkey while we were recording the first time, and then just didn't go, oh, let's just press it again to start it.
Yeah, no, not
Buddy
at
is
all.
speaking nothing but fiction. It's all fiction.
Yeah,
All
nothing,
fake.
nothing at
It's-
all.
It's what the news would like to say fake news.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they're fake.
Called
So-
a cut and a retake.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Keith, J-Bomb, thank you for joining me tonight for this wonderful...
Hey,
Yes.
you're welcome.
Awesome. Guys,
I'm always happy to be here.
Keith and I are super excited about tonight. J-Bomb is super excited about tonight. And that's because we are talking E3 conference. Now, for all of our gaming listeners, you will absolutely enjoy this. You might hate it. I don't know. I'm a Bethesda fanboy, so I'm going to be talking a lot about Bethesda.
Oh, you won't hate it.
Rockstar.
It's a good time, guys. I wish I wouldn't have screwed up with the first take of this of episode 7 because there was some good juicy stuff in there.
Which
Yeah.
he didn't do. He didn't do that.
No, not at all. Which I did
They
not.
totally didn't do that. That did not happen.
Yeah, absolutely did not. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Did not
It-
happen.
Didn't start on a good pace, and then Noah ruined it. That's not what happened.
No, not at
That
all.
is not what happened.
We totally didn't have another interruption by my wife and had another hashtag.
I think this bit's going a little bit too far, guys.
Yeah, it could be. That's okay, guys. Again, guys, we want to thank you so much for joining us again for episode 7. And we also want to thank our sponsor, Mountain Arch Democracy. Guys, I've talked about them so much on this show already. You guys know who they are. Hit them up on Facebook. Check them out, guys. We're all members. We love it. We know you guys would like it, especially if you enjoy our podcast. Go give them a like. Go check them out. See everything they do. Hit up a few shows. It's a good time. Also, remember, we do have a Facebook page at allthingstoday-podcast and a Patreon where you can go and donate, become a patron. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it is something to help support us to bring you better content. And that's at patreon.com/allthingstoday304. Like I said before, guys, we are talking about the E3 conference that just ended last week.
E3.
Is a great time. And for those of you who don't know, the E3 conference is all about video games that are
E3.
being released this year or next year. And when we were totally not recording this episode the first time,
Nope, didn't happen.
J-Bomb had brought up how he was excited about Red Dead Redemption 2. And we had talked about that for a little bit. So let's, we don't have to go as much in depth as last time, but let's kind of,
What last time?
you're perfect.
There is no last time.
Yeah, exactly. But J-Bomb, let's do what you're best at and kind of recap what we talked about with Red Dead Redemption 2 and what you're excited about for it.
I mean, we discussed the fact that, Red Dead Redemption 2, obviously a sequel, but by the way Rockstar played it out, it's actually a prequel to Red Dead Redemption 1.
Mhm.
But as I discussed with me in my old age, there was actually a game before Red Dead Redemption called Red Dead Revolver, which started the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Which we then found out that I didn't play.
Yeah, you didn't play it, and you missed something because the multiplayer was like I said earlier. It was almost like GoldenEye. It was awesome shoot 'em up multiplayer. It didn't have a free roam like Red Dead does, but it was a great game all the same. So yeah, I'm very excited for Red Dead Redemption 2. Apparently the map is bigger. The free roam's more vast. There's a whole lot more side missions. A whole lot more stuff you can do and play with.
And as we had stated before, the reason I never played any of the Red Dead Redemption games, I didn't play Red Dead Revolver, and I didn't play Red Dead Redemption.
Because he sucks.
Yeah, there's that. But in this time, I was into other games, such as with Red Dead Redemption, it was more of I was into Bethesda games such as Morrowind, Oblivion, and later on Skyrim. And then early on, I was into Spyro and Crash Bandicoot and like Game Boy games
Whoa!
such as Legend of. That was perfect. I don't know who did that, but that was amazing.
That was funny.
Buddy,
That was
I love
Crash.
you.
What are you talking about?
I love you.
Love you too.
Mwah, smooches.
Mwah. Smoochy, smoochy.
But anyways, so yeah, I was playing like Nintendo games, Legend of Zelda. I was playing the Pokemon games that I was infatuated with and still play to this day. And it's something I incredibly just love about it. And guys, before you get ahead of yourself, that they're just gonna talk about all this stuff. We did, at least I did, and I'm pretty sure Keith did, watched a good bit of the E3 conference. I watched.
I'm going to surprise the crap out of you.
You didn't watch it at all.
I watched a little bit. I didn't watch a lot.
I
The only
watched.
thing I've seen was Rockstar with Red Dead. That new game that's got Norman Reedus in it. But I don't know the name. That's it. That game looks wicked. Like, apparently, like, dying in that game is a part of the storyline.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah, when you die, it picks up from your death and it changes everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really wicked.
But we watched, I watched a few things. I watched Nintendo. Nintendo has one of the things that I love, the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee games coming out that I'm super excited about for the Nintendo Switch. And then Ubisoft, however you want to say it.
Or Oopsie Soft.
Oops, yeah, that's what they should name themselves.
Ubisoft.
However, I am pretty excited about Assassin's Creed Odyssey coming out.
I am very excited.
And then J-Bomb with Rockstar and Sony's release of Red Dead Redemption 2. When is that coming? Is it this year or early next year?
I believe it's September or October. I believe it's October. Yeah, October.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna have to pick it up.
I just seen that they released this really awesome. You know how all games do the collector's editions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Their Red Dead is going all out. Like it's a chest with like maps and like flags and all kinds of cool stuff with it. I'm probably going to drop a little bit of money and get that. I did that with Assassin's Creed. Which one was it? Assassin's Creed 3 had the Indian.
Yeah. See, I did that with Elder Scrolls Online.
Native American.
Yes, I'm sorry, Native American. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my little Connor statue right now with his little flag behind him and stuff. So yeah, I do that every now and then.
See, I pre-ordered the collector's case for it. That hard 10 collector's case for it, Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah,
and it was really good. But
mine came.
I didn't like
got
the game.
Flag. I don't know where the flag went. I used to have the flag. It was really cool.
If you got a hard 10, was there a hard 9 with it?
But ching! He'll be here all night, folks. But anywho, so I did that with Elder Scrolls Online when they released Morrowind. I ordered the collector's edition, which by the way was $100. I don't know why, but this was just another chapter in the game. Now, it was basically another full-fledged game added to the base game. But the game in and of itself was another $60 for the game. But I just went ahead and got the collector's edition for $100. And I ended up getting a statue of one of the big enemies. I got a replica of one of the Assassin's notebooks and all of their drawings. It was like a manual for the game, but it was laid out like one of the characters from the Morag Tong, which was Assassin's group in Morrowind. It was a leather bound notebook or leather bound guide of the game, and I also got, what else did I get? I got a collector's 10 for it. I got a lot of collectible stuff in game. It was really cool, but that's one of the things I've done for. But I'll definitely have to pick up the Red Dead Redemption or Red Dead collector set just so I can go back and play. Now, is it because of my vast knowledge of Red Dead, it's available on Xbox, right?
Yeah, it's both consoles.
It's multi-platform. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's multi-platform. Now, the one thing I did notice, though, I did read about this just a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
For some reason, though, if you get the biggest collector's, pre-release with Red Dead, it doesn't come with the game.
Really?
Yeah, it's this big, chest full of maps and pendants and stuff like that, but the game is not included in it. You have to pay for the game separately.
What?
Yeah.
That's complete assonance.
I was very disappointed when I read that. I was like, really? I'm gonna
here's
drop
the thing. Unless
$120 on this and the game ain't included.
That's a gift set for $120.
We've got to have money.
See, I don't get that. Game. And we'll talk about it later on. But Fallout 76, for example, their collector's edition is $100, and you get a life-size working replica of a power armor helmet. Yeah.
Puddy's losing his mind over there. Keith, how you doing?
I don't think we can. I don't think we can not talk about it anymore. No, you brought it up. I think it's time.
I think Keith just went from a boy to a man. We might need to jump onto this.
I think it's. Hey, what are you trying to insinuate?
I think it's time. Let's talk about one thing before we get to Bethesda and completely geek out, because then we'll forget about it.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Boo.
Yes, I mean, don't boo that.
You say boo, but here's my thought behind it. The reason I fell out of the Assassin's Creed story was because they started implementing guns. And that sounds dumb, but I'm an Ezio fanboy. Like, Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, Revelation, the whole 9 yards where it's Ezio, there are no guns. I think you have a gun option you can use, like you can upgrade. But it was mostly swords and bows and arrows and stuff like that. You didn't have a gun. In Assassin's Creed 3, they decided to start implementing guns, and you couldn't just okay, it sounds stupid, but I'm not a technical player. I'm a casual player. So my form of technique is button mashing. And especially in those games, there's not, there's a lot of button prompts and everything to show you how to dodge and counter and parry and whatnot. But when they started adding guns, they got rid of the casual player's ability to just button mash and enjoy playing the game.
Did you play Black Flag?
Now, I did enjoy Black Flag. That's mostly because I am an immense fan of historical pirates, and pretty much if I could be a pirate myself, I would. But I just love.
You are a pirate. Your heart wishes to see pirate. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna buy a boat.
He went a little Blackbeard for a second there.
I'm gonna buy a boat. Yeah, I'm totally buying a boat.
My dad wants a boat, and I just want to make it into a pirate ship. But no, that in history, pirates are always my favorite part of history. So Black Flag was actually something that I really enjoyed, being able to go around the boats, the different islands, the legitimate history behind it all was really cool.
Yeah.
But they just, there was talks about them going to the modern Assassin's Creed, where it was in the current year, and it was all going to be technology and guns and free roaming in the big huge city, and I lost all interest in it. But then they were like, you know what? Let's put you in Egypt. And I was like, whoa.
Then they killed Desmond and said, let's go somewhere else.
Yeah. And so they decided, you know what? Let's do this one in Egypt, the one they released this past year. Amazing.
Not a bad game.
The only problem I had with that game,
I enjoyed it, but the I don't know, did you guys play it?
Yes.
Nope.
The only problem I had with the newest Assassin's Creed was I felt like when I was playing it, how your missions will pop up in the top of the screen.
Yeah.
It was the same color as your background most of the time. I strained my eyes so much playing that game trying to read it because it blended in with the background.
The problem that I had with it was the immense size of it. Which, I have no problem with a large game whatsoever at all. I love Fallout, I love Skyrim, I love large games. But give me something to do in all that space you create. Assassin's Creed, I still can't remember what it was called, but I didn't play it very long.
Unity?
Was that the one? Was that the Egyptian one that they just released?
No, Unity. Yeah, Unity was, I think it was in France.
Something like that. I
Unity.
don't know.
I played Unity. The map was so big, and like a mission would have you go all the way across that map to do it. It'd take you like 20, 30 minutes to do one little mission.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
And I
With like
stopped playing that one.
this new Egyptian Assassin's Creed, one thing that they did with it was they made a huge landscape, but for a gamer's perspective, it's rather boring. But for a historical perspective, it made sense because that's how these cities in Egypt were laid out in these ancient times, were very far spaced. But for a player standpoint, for you to go from the pyramids to a city took you like 20 to 30 like real minutes to get from the pyramids to the city, and there was nothing to do around there. It was just you riding your camel, literally your camel or your horse, across the dunes to get to the city with nothing to do in between, and it was boring. And
that was the problem Unity had too.
Yeah, you just had nothing to do, and that's something that Black Flag did really well with the ship perspective. The pirate aspect of it is traveling from island to island, battling other ships. You had something to do in all that open water.
Yeah, you did.
Which this one is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This is what, like a gladiator Spartan sort of, and they totally
like
ripped off 300.
Time.
Yeah, they totally ripped off 300 because they how they open up the trailer is the main character Spartan kicking like 300. This is Sparta. Kicking somebody off a cliff, doing that. They totally ripped it off 300. But I have high hopes for this.
With the way gameplay in Assassin's Creed is, as far as flowing and the fighting, it would be really cool to be surrounded by like 300 guys and just have to throw down and counter and all that. I'd have a blast doing that.
And see, that'd be so cool. Like imagining. Sorry, Keith. I'll let you go here in a second. But like my thought of it, how cool would it be in Odyssey if you're a Roman, Spartan, something of that sort, like a gladiator, instead of doing the very floaty, very free running aspect. And now, of course, there still will be parkour in the game because that's what Assassin's Creed is. But giving your character more of a brute standpoint, like you don't do as much of the floating and the countering and stuff like that. You just go in and break skulls.
Brawl.
You go in with a sword in a group of like 30 guys with swords, and you just start going ham on them with all your assassin abilities and your big giant gladiator sword. That would just be cool. But you were saying, Keith?
That would be cool. Buddy? Where'd he go?
Is he alive?
I just want to let you all know that J-Bomb just said, basically, he wants to be around 300 guys.
He wants to be surrounded by 300 dudes.
But I did say I want to kill them all.
Well, you still gotta be surrounded by them to get close to them.
But
I gotta kill them.
Hands on wieners will be somewhere there. I'm just saying.
At some point.
Wow.
Oh goodness. Yeah, it happens.
Whether
took a turn for the worst.
Whether accidental or not, I'm just saying.
Absolutely. That's great. But yeah, like how cool. Like, what do you think?
Revenge will be dealt to you, Putty.
Shoot.
No.
So what do you think, Keith? Like I know you said boo about Assassin's Creed, but I know you played Assassin's Creed games.
I don't think boo. I'm so over the Assassin's Creed series at this point. But yeah, that's coming. But
we'll get there.
But I don't know. I'll play it eventually. I still need to play Origins.
That's the one.
I'm still in Syndicate. I haven't beat Syndicate. I'm so done with the Assassin's Creed story, honestly.
You're burnt out on the franchise.
Basically.
Well, at this point, they've just released they've released so many games at this point now, and they kind of got rid of their story, their whole end of the world story after they killed off Desmond and everything.
That's kind of why I'm not interested, because as soon as they were done with Desmond, then they're just like, oh, let's do this thing where it's now a game company or something in real life, but there's a secret backstory to it. Like, there may not be maybe there is with Desmond.
That's what I thought. I thought with Origins that they would bring in the Apple of Eden in its like original thing.
You would think so, and
be able to tie that story in with.
And
I
would have thought.
I don't think anybody would be mad if they decided to say, "Hey, let's do a prequel and bring back Desmond."
Yeah.
Like
that would be cool.
Let's bring back Desmond for a minute in between times, and like it's in between the story of Ezio and Connor. It's in between the last Assassin's Creed with Ezio and then Assassin's Creed 3 with Connor. Do something in between there where they're trying to find the origins of the Apple of Eden or whatever, and they find it in Egypt or something like that with the new Origin game. That would have been cool to do. But they don't.
And then Origins be about the origins in Egypt hiding the apple or something like that.
Right, and like
it's a way to tie it all together.
The main character ends up leaving to go to he ends up leaving to Italy. Like he travels north and makes his way to Italy and hides it there. Something of the sort. And then you can tie it into Odyssey, for example. Now, I know I have my time periods kind of screwed up here, but you can have it to where they travel to this area of the Mediterranean and pick it up where Odyssey's going to be. Pick it up at that point where that's where the Apple of Eden was hidden because of the Egyptians, and then that's where that picks up, and then you can just follow it. You could tie that into the Ezio storyline in Florence, Italy, and during the Renaissance and everything, and then, so on and so forth. Go from there. But don't stray away from your story. What they're doing at this point...
If you did that, you could have, not killed Connor off, and Connor could have lived through all of those moments, so that way you could have had, Connor and now
Desmond?
And, Desmond. Yeah, Desmond, doing nowadays, and then all these other ancestors going all the way back to Egypt, Sparta, whatever.
Yeah.
They could have tied him into all that instead of killing him.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Ubisoft, they're capitalizing on a franchise that loved Ezio. And I'm not going to lie, they love the Italian feel. I'm pretty sure the majority of people loved Assassin's Creed 2 up through the end of the Ezio timeline, and then just kind of fell off after they killed off Desmond. And that's just kind of where we're at now. Now, same aspect, coming from a historical standpoint, somebody who absolutely adores all things history, I think it's cool that they're going back. One thing that I would like to see, they've done it during the Revolutionary War, of course, with Assassin's Creed 3. They've done it with the pirates. They've done it French Revolution. They've done it in London. They've done it in Italy, obviously. And now they've done it in Egypt. And it looks like they're going to Greece to do the next one. What I would like to see is, maybe a South American version. Go to the Mayans. Go to the Aztecs. If you want to go even further, go into Russia. If you want to go further than that, go into the Civil War a little bit. Go into the building of the railroads in the United States. In the 1800s and everything. Go into that a little bit from a historical standpoint. It's really cool. But as a casual gamer, I don't believe that the game in and of itself does much for me. It doesn't satisfy that want for a story. It just, it's there.
It used to, though. That's
right, it absolutely used to. And they had a great thing going, and now they're just capitalizing on the Assassin's Creed name.
Yeah, like Unity, I stopped playing. And Origins, I didn't play either.
Unity was the last one I really got into, just because I love to play it. But, story-wise, it was basic and simple, guy likes a girl stuff. So I was into it, but, Black Flag, I don't like pirate stuff. Syndicate,
Black Flag.
Syndicate, I'm not that interested in.
No,
honestly.
See, Syndicate, I liked the idea of it because it was a London gang-based sort of thing in the 1600s, which I thought, again, it was like a Jack the Ripper sort of thing for me, a very historical thing, and I thought it was really cool what they did with it, but it was not a well-played game. With their online multiplayer and stuff, it was just kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But Odyssey,
care for it.
I would like to see what they do with Odyssey, because going back in time again even further than the Renaissance and stuff like that, to kind of Iron Age, Bronze Age weaponry, gladiators, and they're traveling back to the Mediterranean area. I think it's going to have a lot of good things to do with people. I'm just afraid of what they're going to do with the story.
Mm-hmm.
You were worried about guns. I don't think you're going to get guns in this one.
No, and see, but that's fine. See, the guns, it was just the mechanics that they had with the guns that bothered me. It was not the guns in and of itself. It was the mechanics of countering the guns. And maybe I'm just not good at video games. There's that too. But I personally, as a casual gamer, just did not like it. But that's just me. They could do a lot of cool things with Assassin's Creed, and I think Odyssey is something that they could do something cool with. But we'll have to see when it gets here. Now the big one we've been wanting to talk about so much, so much. We're gonna get to it. Nintendo's Let's Go Pikachu, guys. Oh my gosh!
God dang it! How dare you set me up for a fan? You just give me blue balls.
I'm a tease. No, I'm kidding, guys. Fallout 76. Fallout 76, guys. I will say I am excited for Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee for the Nintendo Switch. I was a big fan of Pokemon Go until it sucked. And I like the fact that they're kind of giving it a main title feel now and adding it to the Switch and so on and so forth. But that's something Nintendo talks about all the time. You guys can go research about that. I'm just a big Nintendo fanboy and have to give them their props. But Fallout 76, guys. Let's talk about Fallout 76. Keith, you have
West Virginia, Mountain Mama. It's in our home state, thank God. Yay! I know. I get the new Camden Park.
I read that West Virginia tourism has risen about 30% since the release of E3. The E3 conference.
On a local news website, they said that for the West Virginia travel website or something like that, they usually get about 2,000 searches. After the Fallout 76 trailer and E3 press conference, it went up to 30,000. I'm just
was crazy.
That's what happens when you do good things to promote the state of West Virginia instead of just calling us a bunch of hick, drug-induced hillbillies that just like to have sex with our cousins.
I mean, not that Fallout 76 is going to make it any better. I saw somebody saying, if you just want to see a post-apocalyptic, drug-addicted wasteland, walk outside of Huntington.
It's a good, funny joke. I punch him.
Or walk into McDowell County.
Yeah, but anyways, I'm excited to see what they do with Camden Park, in real life, IRL. Man, I am so excited to see how this affects Camden Park because Camden Park has, I think, isn't it the world's last standing and oldest all wooden roller coaster? Something like that. But I'm excited to see what this game does for West Virginia IRL.
The Big Dipper is still standing.
Yeah, man. Because Camden Park used to be such a cool place, but it's so old at this point that it's kind of it's on the verge of, well, should they tear it down or is it just a monument at this? And I feel like there is an association out there for theme parks that I think is keeping Camden Park open solely from their donations because of the Big Dipper, because it's the last standing in the world's oldest all wooden roller coaster, something of the sort like that. But I'm excited to see what it does. Hopefully it brings them in enough revenue from people going and experiencing it, so they can be like, I was here in Fallout 76, and they can experience that. It does a lot of good things for the state. I really hope it does, because I feel like this state is about 20 years behind every other state around us. And it might do some good things for us. I don't know. But, oh my gosh, guys, Fallout 76.
I love how Camden Park on their Facebook page mentions absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah.
The only mention of it is just a post someone posted a picture of down below one of their earlier posts. Is just guys, you were just mentioned in a very highly anticipated video game that hundreds and thousands and maybe even millions of people will play.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
Why don't you promote this a little more? They're there's nothing.
Even the Greenbrier made a mention about it.
Yeah, I mean,
the Greenbrier was like, "Hey, check this out." It was a good idea. I don't know.
You talking about Camden Park being possibly shut down eventually, whatever. I'm not sure of the truth behind the rumor, but I've heard that in the game it's going to have Welch, West Virginia, in it.
Yes.
Welch is, like I told you guys earlier, it's 20, 30 minutes up the road from me.
Yeah.
I've been to Welch many times. The crazy thing about Welch is back in the 60s, 70s, late 50s, it was a big mining town, and that was the place to be at. But once the mines shut down, actually, Welch has turned into almost like a wasteland. It's a place nobody really wants to be at. So,
yeah. And it's cool
even something like this game could bring Welch back into what it needs to be.
Like, I'm looking at, I saved I got a new phone around the same time as E3 came out, so I saved a lot of pictures from it. Like, it's showing Grafton, West Virginia, where the Grafton Monster is from, Snowshoot, Fayetteville, where the New River Gorge Bridge is, Beckley, Bluefield, Charleston, Huntington, Point Pleasant, because the Mothman plays a big part in this game, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Parkersburg, cool. Clarksburg, Bridgeport, and you can see up where Morgantown is. WVU is in the game, guys. Like,
wow,
that's wild. Harper's Ferry, Roanoke, Virginia is in the game. And the cool thing about it, it's about time that they do this because they've mentioned all of the surrounding areas around us. Like, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania was in a previous game, and it was called The Pit. It had been made to like a gladiator-style something of the sort. And then to the far right of us, there's the Capital Wasteland, which is basically Washington, D.C. So it's about time they do something about this. And apparently the idea of the game, for those of you who don't know, is this is the first, I think, 20 or 25 years after the bombs drop in the game. And it's the first group of people from Vault 76 coming out and seeing everything. And apparently the people there are just kind of oblivious to the world around them because West Virginia, being a lesser-known area, was just kind of left out during the fallout. And so a lot of its natural wonders are still standing, other than like the Capitol, around Charleston and stuff.
Like Appalachian Trail stuff.
New River Gorge.
It's all still there.
Which, it's just... Speaking of New River Gorge, I'm actually going over there Saturday. The Fallout 76 trailer has made me think about how I have not really seen anything around this state.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, let's just go New River Gorge. Why not? So that's going to be an experience.
But nothing can make me want to drive to Welch, so I'll just wait for the game.
Yeah, no. And see, that's a cool thing. One thing that Todd Howard, I love Todd Howard, by the way. Peace, love you, smooches.
Ew.
Listen, Todd Howard is a saint in my book.
Ew.
At this point, in my thought behind it is he was talking about how what he was doing with West Virginia was a hub, it was a center of nuclear warheads that the United States had. And one of the things in the game is you and your teammates can go around to these nuclear sites and launch still active missiles. And that's what they're doing with places like Welch that used to be an old mining town. Basically what it is that these mines were an undercover area for these active nuclear warheads. And you get to go to places like that. And that's probably where you mentioned Welch. It's probably where one of the locations of the missile silos is. It's going to be a lot of these mining areas.
Probably under Welch Hospital.
Yeah, I am so excited to see what they do with this.
I'm just saying, knowing my history, Welch Hospital shut down in like the 80s, so maybe that would be where it's at.
It's possible. See, my guess is in one of the mines. It's going to be like around that area. It's going to be in one of the old mines that was shut down, forever ago. And it's going to be like an actual hidden silo that you have to go down, work your way through like ghouls, feral ghouls, bandits, raiders, stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But I'm super stoked for it. I like the fact that you can travel from Huntington to Roanoke, Virginia. The one thing that I'm worried about, which is the same issue I had with the Egyptian Assassin's Creed Origins, one of the problems I have with it is I'm afraid the map is going to be too big without anything to do in it. Because West Virginia in and of itself is a lot of mountainous forest areas. Yeah. And they said that this map is going to be 4 times larger than Fallout 4. So imagine 4 maps of Fallout 4 tacked on top of each other. That's huge.
Well, I'm hoping that they put in a lot of areas of West Virginia that's not just mountainous areas, because Fallout 4 was a huge game by itself. This being 4 times bigger than that, you have a lot of possibilities to really show this state off, and heck, even a little bit of Virginia if they do go to like Roanoke.
Yeah, which is what they said they put into it. I'm excited for it, and one reason they do it is they're doing it that way is because they kind of want to show off. They want to show off the landscape. They want to show off the area, but you have a lot of places you can go. Like, imagine all the stuff in West Virginia. Of course, it's not a replica size of West Virginia, so it's not going to be totally massive by any means, but it is 4 times bigger than Fallout 4.
Have they said anything about Lake Shawnee being in the game?
They've mentioned Canal River, but not Lake Shawnee.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been to Lake Shawnee?
I have, but they did mention Summersville Lake.
Yeah, Lake Shawnee is supposed to be like one of the most haunted places in West Virginia. That would be like a great place to put in it.
I imagine they probably would, but see, what I'm kind of going towards is like, it's not a lot of space, but they're looking to put the capital in there. They're looking to put the Canal River, Grafton, West Virginia with the Grafton Monster. They're looking to put WVU in it. They're looking to put Point Pleasant in it with the Mothman. They're looking to put the New River Gorge Bridge in it. So there's a lot of things that they're wanting to put in it into a relatively small area when you think about it. So there might be a lot to do, but at the same time, where West Virginia is a very mountainous, forested area, you might get lost in it. And especially the fact that they said, unlike their mega servers that ZeniMax did for Elder Scrolls Online, where you had hundreds, possibly 1,000 people on one mega server, it's the apocalypse. It's post-apocalyptic, so there's not that many people running around. He said there will be dozens of people in this area. Like, I'm thinking maybe 50 people in a server.
Wow.
So, with something that's 4 times the size of Fallout 4, with about 50 people in the server and a lot of stuff to do, you might not run into the problem, or you just could run into a lot of open territory where you can build your bases and stuff like that. I know big chimneys in the game. There's a lot of things in the game that I'm just super stoked about, and I'm not ecstatic about the fact that it's multiplayer and not co-op. But that's just.
But you can play it co-op.
You can, but there's still going to be other people in the game, which I'm kind of.
Yeah, but still, if you have people you can play co-op with, you can, deal with people that might give you a rough time or anything. And they even said you can play it solo, so I'm sure there's going to be a way to like set it to where you don't have to play with anybody there. You can just be by yourself in a map and everything.
Right, and there's been some recent news released about it too that I haven't checked into, which might ease some of my thoughts. But one of the things that I was telling him, we've talked about Matt Simmons on here before. He invited us to do that charity live stream, that gaming charity live stream with him back when we first started the podcast. And I talked to him about the game a little bit because me, him, another one of our buddy Nate, who listens to the podcast. Hey Nate,
Shout out.
We've talked to a couple. We've talked between each other, and I told them one of my big fears with it is, again, I'm a casual player. I'm not a competitive player. I'm not somebody I get into the story, I get into the lore of the game, and I like role playing in a role playing game. And unfortunately, when you add multiplayer to a game like that, you get people who are just a bunch of tryhards. You get a bunch of people who are just they wanna be the best at it, and I get it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But that ruins the experience for casual players like me. When you get people who, like, for example, let's say you accidentally blow up somebody's base and they stalk you the entire time. They happen to be one of these tryhards, okay? And they're stalking you the whole time. That's not a fun experience. And I understand, if I accidentally blow up somebody's base, I expect retaliation. I get it. I've played Grand Theft Auto. I know how retaliation is, especially online. However, you get these tryhards who don't know when to stop.
They make it their goal to end your life.
Yeah, they make it your goal to make you rage quit that game that night. And that's what I don't want. I don't want something to accidentally happen, or me do something, or we get into a battle and then somebody loses and they happen to be one of these people and decides to make my night playing the game of living hell and make me hate the game. And it's happened before. Like, it's one thing about, like, when I was playing, Elder Scrolls Online, for example. They added a dueling system. But these people would just go in and they would go into these dungeons and these delves and they would completely clear it out over and over and over again. And you would never get a chance to get any experience or get the main treasure or anything like that because these people would go in and clear everything out and you wouldn't have a chance to do anything. You would literally have to sit there and wait for everything to respawn in like 15 real minutes to get everything set back up. And it was miserable. And I'm just worried about the very competitive people in the same server as somebody like myself who's just trying to have fun.
We will see when the game comes out, man.
I suppose so, but that's my biggest worry. I ended up loving Elder Scrolls Online when I started adding friends to it.
Do you believe in Todd Howard?
The power of Todd.
Do you believe in Bethesda?
Absolutely.
Well, I wouldn't. I'm kidding. Believe in these people, and you will have the game that you always want. I'm just buying it because it's set in West Virginia, man. I don't care how many people are in the game. I don't care what I have to do in the game. If I can go to my where I work, or even the Camden Park, New River Gorge, WVU.
Yeah.
Hope State's in it. Probably won't be, but anyways. If I can go there and I can just see play it while I live in the same state, I will be one happy camper. Post haste, $60 well spent.
That's my thought as well. Like, I feel like if you're a gamer in West Virginia and you have online capabilities and you don't buy Fallout 76, you are not doing your state any.
Honestly,
any good.
It's not even a gamer thing at this point for me. If you're just not if you're a fan of this state and want it to succeed, support Fallout 76 unless they do something stupid, which they never usually do. That's stupid. But support Fallout 76. We may never have a thing like this to happen to us ever again.
It's true.
Well, I mean, you saying that Virginia gets to play part in it. I'm technically right on the West Virginia border. My house is in Virginia, so I mean, talking about Roanoke being in it, I'm hoping now to see Abbs Valley, Virginia, pop up in the game.
It might. Have no clue how it's going to be. And
the full map has not been released yet.
Yeah, I feel the same way about you, though, Keith. At this point,
I feel the same way about you too.
Listen now. Listen at him. But anywho, I am truly excited about the game because it takes place in West Virginia, and I don't feel like the state gets enough credit for what it is, which is causing a lot of decline in the state. Which is one reason that most people like myself want to get out and move elsewhere. But I do think it's going to do a great thing for West Virginia, and I think the game in and of itself, it's going to be cool. Like, the people who have lived in Las Vegas, or people who have lived in California, people who live in Washington, D.C., and get to experience games like this, or live in New York where a lot of games are placed, they get to see this stuff all the time because it's where these games take place.
Oh, we're used to it. Another Spider-Man game in New York City.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Oh, okay, this is another...
another depiction of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, yeah, how many times has that been?
Yeah, I already know where I'm going. Yeah, I agree.
But to see something come to a state that's ranked in the bottom 5 in almost everything, except for drug use and homicide rates. I mean, it's... And I hate to say that, but it's true. It's good to see something like this come to this state. It's because this is a company that's going to take. What did I say now?
Oh, it's what I said, and I'm a stupid idiot.
But
I said the Eiffel Tower as in if it was in the U.S.
That's true. That's true. I meant the Empire
State Building.
That too.
Damn it!
It's the same thing.
It's not the same! It's totally not the same! I'm the stupid man on the stupid podcast saying the Eiffel Tower is the Empire State Building, Noah!
Just remember, Keith,
It's
you're not...
I gotta go away! I gotta go away again for 3 weeks! I can't do it no more!
Just woosah, man. Woosah. Calm down.
He's done.
He's done.
He's done lost it, guys.
It's so over. He's gone. I don't even know where he went.
R.I.P. Puddy on the podcast. Oh, man. So, anyways, like I was saying, I wholeheartedly believe that this being said in West Virginia, I think they're taking the beauty of West Virginia and showing it off. They're showing off all the... And now, of course, it's going to be post-apocalyptic, but... They're showing off the good things about West Virginia, the attractions of West Virginia, the beauty of the nature around us, and I think it's going to do a great thing. So
I think it'll be good for the state.
So what do you think? Not being somebody who didn't watch the conference, and what's your experience with Fallout and Elder Scrolls games, or let's say Bethesda in general? What's your history with them?
I'm not going to lie, I have zero experience with it.
So, are you as excited about Fallout 76 as Keith and I are?
It is a game that, because of it being an area I grew up in, that, yes, I will buy a copy, I will play it, and
yeah.
I look forward to it. I really do look forward to it.
Now,
so, yeah.
This being a game that is a highly sought-after game and a loved game and everything from the sort, do you think if you like this game that you would be apt to buying Fallout 4 or Fallout 3 like its predecessors?
I'm that kind of guy, yeah. If I get into a game, we brought up Assassin's Creed. I didn't really start up with Assassin's Creed till 2.
Yeah.
But 2 made me go back and play 1. It was such a good game.
Right. At least you didn't start with Black Flag and work backwards.
No. But like Uncharted, I dropped in an Uncharted on Uncharted 3.
Yeah.
And I went all the way back to 1 and played through just because I really enjoyed the game. So
right.
Yeah, with Fallout 76, if it's a good game, it will inspire me to go back and play the other Fallouts.
Right. Absolutely. And it's a fun game. And I like the Fallout series. The only thing I have about Fallout, and you might not know this, is that Fallout was not originally a Bethesda franchise. So Fallout was originally owned by a company called Obsidian, and Obsidian did Fallout 1, and I believe Fallout 2, and it just didn't resonate with people. They liked it, but it wasn't the franchise that it is now. Well, Bethesda got a hold of it and created Fallout 3. People went bonkers over Fallout 3 because of its open world.
I remember the big upheaval about it.
Yeah, people loved it. And then Obsidian came back, saw what Bethesda did, and was like, okay, we can kind of do that, and created Fallout New Vegas. To this day, which is probably most people's favorite Fallout game of all time, which was New Vegas. Now people are kind of upset that Bethesda went back with Fallout 4 and created it, and they were like, well, it's not New Vegas. It's not an Obsidian title, which that's fine. A lot of people don't. My thing is, if you like New Vegas...
What was that?
Hi, Puddy.
Hi.
But if you like New Vegas, then by that account, you should like 3 and 4, because Obsidian took what Bethesda did with 3 and capitalized off of that instead of going back to their original ways of Fallout 2 and Fallout 1. Fallout 4 then was released by Bethesda, which was basically Skyrim with guns, is how people were calling it. Such a good game, and I highly suggest it. But my big franchise with Bethesda is probably one of their oldest running. Well, it's not the oldest running, but an older running franchise that was solely by them was the Elder Scrolls franchise with Arena, Daggerfall, Morrowind, Obsidian, Oblivion,
Bang.
and Skyrim.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And see,
very, very, very popular games.
And see, I started playing Elder Scrolls back when Daggerfall came out, the second one, and I ended up going back and playing Arena. Since then, I've played Morrowind, I've played Oblivion, and I've played Skyrim. As you guys heard me before, I was playing Skyrim on my Switch when we were doing the first take of this episode.
Brag about it.
I love Elder Scrolls, man, and that kind of leads me into the kind of the last thing I wanted to talk about on this podcast was.
He's back.
Am I not allowed to talk about it?
Yeah. But there's one more thing that we're talking about, because you're not leaving my Sony out of this.
Let's go, Eevee.
Out of it. No.
Sony.
No.
Okay.
No, that's not Sony. That's Nintendo.
Okay, well, what do you think? Do you think because we're on the topic of Bethesda, I should go ahead and start with this, or go to Sony so I can finish out what I'm talking about?
I don't know. You're the host.
I don't care either. So, I'll go into what I'm saying, what I was thinking right now, because we're on the topic of Bethesda and Elder Scrolls. The first glimpse and announcement of Elder Scrolls 6. Guys, I can't tell you enough how excited I am for this game. I don't care what region of Tamriel in Elder Scrolls it takes place in. I don't care how big the map is. I'm so excited that we are getting another main title Elder Scrolls game in the next couple years. And I say that because Skyrim came out in 2011. That it has been 7 years since they released a main title game, and before then it was only 4 years from the difference of Oblivion, Elder Scrolls 4, and Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, which were both fantastic games. So
it's been over 10 years since Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. I don't want to hear your sass.
I'll get into this. We'll talk about this in a second. All right, we'll finish on the big one. But Elder Scrolls 6 being a Bethesda.
That's not the one I want to talk about. Damn it.
But Elder Scrolls 6 being me, I'm super excited about. Now, do you guys have any experience or know much about Elder Scrolls?
No.
I played Skyrim, and I can honestly tell you, I am very excited for how little I give a crap about this game, and I'm not probably going to play it.
So
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna have.
I mean, there's 3 games I'm looking forward to.
I'm just
saying there's 3 games I'm looking forward to. It's the new Assassin's Creed, Red Dead Redemption, and call me whatever you want to, but WWE 2K19.
I'm skipping 2K19 this year, man. I've got all of them since SmackDown, WWE SmackDown on the PlayStation, but nah, I'm gonna skip this one.
But I will say
2K18 was fun, man.
I
it
will
was
say
broken.
I am personally, I'm super excited for Elder Scrolls 6 when it does make its release, and whenever it is. J-Bomb, when you come up this way, I'm gonna have you come over so we can play it and I can teach you a little bit of the lore. I personally love the game. I don't care how much other people dislike it or whatever. I love the game. And I will always love Bethesda and the Elder Scrolls franchise because I'm a big fantasy nerd and I enjoy orcs, I enjoy elves, I enjoy swords, bows, dragons, the whole 9 yards, just because I'm a nerd like that. But we'll go ahead and move on since Keith's not too excited about it and J-Bomb doesn't know too much about it. We'll have our fantasy talk one of these days about Elder Scrolls and Lord of the Rings and different stuff.
Oh, no, you get into Lord of the Rings, you're speaking my language.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, imagine Lord of the Rings in a RPG video game world with a totally different storyline behind it.
I'm imagining it, and I kind of want to throw up.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
Did you play the Lord of the Rings games?
No.
I did, and I was not happy with them.
I mean the newer ones. What were those called?
Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were all right.
Did you play those? Those were cool. The gameplay was awesome.
I liked the memory system behind it. I liked the fact that your enemies remembered you, and every time you died, it was a period of time, and they would progress, and they actually remembered who you were. But other than that, I didn't like the game. But that's just because I don't know too much of the lore behind Lord of the Rings.
The gameplay to me, the whole game felt like the Arkham games.
Yeah.
But set with like Lord of the Rings.
Well, I mean, it was made by WB.
That's true.
It was the same. It was the same engine as the Arkham games was.
And see, I love the Arkham games, and it could just be because I don't know too much about Lord of the Rings. I do understand it's fantasy, and But anyways, we'll get into that another topic. But so Keith, you said you didn't want to leave out Sony. Let's talk Sony.
I just want to mention one game because where Spider-Man's coming out soon and Days Gone, I don't really care for it. I just want to mention one game and one game only. Last of Us Part 2. My God, that trailer was amazing.
It's not where I thought you were going to go, but yeah.
You can't tell me that trailer didn't give you a little bit of a non-existent. Yeah, let's say that. I mean, oh my God.
Here's the thing. I'll be honest. I didn't play the first Last of Us.
I just beat it not too long ago, so I don't feel bad.
But also at the same time, remember, I don't have a PlayStation.
Well, for Last of Us, you need to. Because Last of Us was awesome. I still need to play Left Behind, which will get me more caught up with Ellie's story anyways.
Yeah.
Because I know something now that I shouldn't have known because I didn't play Left Behind from the trailer. So, spoilers if anybody doesn't know that. Sorry. But it was still awesome to see this in that barn scene and them two just like dancing, and then it just cuts right to some violent shit. I mean, pardon the French, but still.
Right.
It was so good, man.
So
we just made the whole podcast. Now we got to edit it.
Yeah. It's okay. So J-Bomb, as far as no
more edits. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off again like I've done the entire podcast, but no more edits. We're doing uncut, uncensored. If you don't like cuss words, stop being a baby.
I had to pick on you, man.
But so, J-Bomb, as somebody, I don't have a PlayStation 4, so I've watched some of The Last of Us, and I've watched this new Android game, this new robot Android game that's come out or whatever. The people, Detroit something.
Become Human.
Yeah, Become Human Detroit. It seems really cool. But do you have any experience with The Last of Us? Do you know something about it? Because
honestly, I don't. As we've discussed in podcasts earlier, I'm a single dad of 3 kids. I'm lucky to play the games I get to play.
Right.
Absolutely. I haven't got to play that one. I want to. There's a lot of games out there I'm really dying to play. It's just I can't really afford it at the moment.
The Last of Us is so good emotionally and gameplay wise. It will tug at your heartstrings and make you just like, the feels.
It's on my list. Yeah, it's on my list of games I want to play.
Because your kiss is on my list. Because your kiss is what I miss.
Because your kiss.
Because your kiss, I can't resist.
Okay, we're looking for 2 new hosts of All Things Today. I am your new host, Keith Martin Puddy. We're taking applications. Just go to facebook.com/allthingstoday or something like that. I can't remember. Is it All Things Today /podcast?
Yes.
J-Bomb and Noah went to try out for American Idol.
They went to go off to be little.
We decided to be a Hall & Oates cover band.
I had to censor myself there. I was going to say something real mean, so never mind. I'll be back over here. Sorry.
That's okay.
He'll be back in this corner.
So Keith, tell us a little bit. I know the premise of The Last of Us, and I know how. Now the first one, and I know I'm going to be a spoiler person. You said you just finished the game, right?
Yes.
So in the original Last of Us, doesn't the little girl that he saved, doesn't she die?
Okay, spoilers for sure. No.
Okay, I couldn't remember because I remember there were some issues about thinking.
You know what? Now I just don't want to play the game anymore. I just don't even want to play it.
It's still worth it. Still worth it.
I'm just messing with you guys.
You've had this long to play. I don't want to hear your sass, J-Bomb.
Yeah, you have a PlayStation, not me.
Look, I'm poor, Keith. I got 3 kids. All right?
Unacceptable. You could find a copy of that for $10.
I've got 4 and a pregnant wife.
Yeah.
Come at me.
I don't want
But
to hear
you got a wife. I'm doing it all by myself, so don't get in the competition.
All by myself.
We're looking for a new co-host. Applications.
Dylan Stokes, good one.
Oh, goodness. I got something to deliver. Your hands only. Sorry. I'm back to playing Skyrim on the Switch.
We're doing a podcast, you boob.
Podcast, yeah.
Oh,
Wake up, man.
Sorry.
Podcast
Wake me up inside. I can't
wake me up.
Can't wake up inside.
Save me.
Save me.
So we need.
So this is the J-Bomb podcast.
Yeah, let's go all the way around. There we go.
So,
I no longer have Keith and Noah. They've went on to try out for America's Got Talent.
You two went to sign up for American Idol. I went to go for Voice or some crap. Me and Noah are going to America's Got Talent. We're going everywhere.
That's right.
That's right, boy.
Yeah. West Side.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
Sorted. Sorted.
Let's get back. I know I'm the one that takes it off track.
All the pieces all of a sudden.
I've lost too many brain cells already.
I'm gonna go back on track here, even though I was the one that took it off. So
it's all good. Anywho,
where were we?
But no, the girl, she doesn't die. Are you talking about Ellie?
Yes.
No.
Or whoever it is that is in the truck as they're leaving.
So the girl.
Yes. Is that Ellie?
Oh wait, at the beginning, the very beginning.
Dude, I don't know. I haven't played the game.
Well, dang, dude, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm thinking as they finish the game. If I'm even thinking about the last game.
Okay, I will say this. At the end of the game, there is death in this game for sure. I did not expect these people to stay alive.
Right.
Playing The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. Awesome. Well, was there any other games or anything you guys wanted to mention from E3 that you may have seen that you wanted to talk about some more or anything like that?
No, I'm good.
Not really.
So basically, what we can take from this is we should be excited for Nintendo Let's Go Pikachu, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Whoa!
Awesome.
Let's go
Yes.
Pikachu.
Let's go Pikachu.
Let's go
so excited.
Let's go Pikachu.
10 out of 10 would recommend to a child.
Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption 2. But guys, thank you all so much for joining us. I do apologize that it was not as good as maybe we had expected because we had to do a second take of it.
Yeah, thanks, Noah.
The first one was fantastic.
You know what? That did happen, and you suck.
Yeah, well, it happens. So, anyways, guys,
the first one was award winning. This one, I don't know what happened.
This is like Leonardo DiCaprio Grammy or Emmy, whatever that is. I don't know. I think Grammy's for music.
What?
Oscar.
That's the one. I don't watch those award shows.
Anywho,
guys,
like a piece from Beethoven, and then someone destroys the audio, and then they replace it with like a 69 song,
or like a Cardi B.
Boom!
Yeah.
Boom! Drop the hammer on the haters. What? So what? Bring it at me. Two shades.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us for episode 7 this week.
You want to talk? You want to start some stuff? You want to go? You want to go, fam? Let's get lit next to the Bronx, yo.
I hope we had enough content for you guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I don't know what just happened there, but thank you again so much for joining us. Again, thank you to Mountain Arts Democracy for sponsoring this show. Just thank you all around. Biggest thing to take away from this is go to Patreon and donate to All Things Today so we can afford these games we want. All right? Just kidding.
Lit
And I'll always close the way I always close. Stay metal.
Absolutely, guys. We love you. Have a good night. Peace.
Another thing.